Here we go then, boys and girls, the start of the new season, our first full season at Hamburg, and we get to find out how good or bad that transfer window we did a couple of days ago actually was. I'm sure it was excellent. Hello and welcome to Club 5, Part 11 of Non-League to Legend. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we have our first two games of the new Bundesliga season. We're at home against Freiburg and away against Werder Bremen. Now, based on last season, they are two games that if we're serious about being a mid-table, top half of the table team this year, we kind of need to win them both because they're teams that in fact, should we look at last year's league table and just, let's have a look. So, Freiburg we're 8th. That's kind of where we aspire to be, but we play them at home, and Werder Bremen are one place above us, down in the doldrums of mid-table where we don't want to be anymore. I want 6 points if we're any good. I don't know if we are any good though, but I'm feeling confident based on an 11-0 win against a team that aren't as good as our B team. I mean, it was an impressive result. I don't remember the last time I won a game 11-0. I know they're not very good. I know they're a semi-pro team who aren't even in the league structure. I know they had a player sent off after 25 minutes. But let's not worry about any of that. My left back got a hat-trick. And so did my new signing left winger. So we're strong down the left-hand side. Rodriguez, who I had doubts about, he got 2 goals. Kasprzak came on with 20 minutes to go. He got 2 goals. Liam Thorne really was the one disappointment, although he did kind of link everything together, scoring just the 1 goal. But he did have 1 disallowed and got himself a 9.2 and played very, very well. So, you know, based on that, I assume we're going to win the league and probably the Champions League this season because we'll get like 8 games in and the world will realise we're so good we should probably be in it and they'll let us in as a late entrant. Or that was maybe a freak result and a bit of an overreaction, but I'm sure it's the first one. So this is the team we're putting out there for our first league game against Freiburg, which will either be real excitement commencing or a return to reality. Predictions down in the comments. We've got Mayer in goal, a back 4 of hat-trick hero Friedel, Gomez, Emmanuel and Butgerite, with Rodriguez and Janicic as our midfield. Okafor, Vital and Rocky are our attacking midfield 3, with Liam Thorne leading the line. The 2-goal hero from the bench, Kasprzak, he's injured, so he can't play. So there would have been a strong case for playing him ahead of Thorne, but he blew it by getting himself injured. And the Italian striker, who we signed, 49% match fitness, so that's why he's not even on the bench. He needs to play a few games for the B team or somewhere. I don't understand how his fitness level can be quite as low as it is. But let's get into the game. I think we're on telly. Are we on telly? This seems a little bit of a baptism of fire if we are on telly, because this is our first league game playing our new Gegenpress 4-2-3-1 system, which, for those of you who've been watching the channel for a long time, will recognise as the exact same Gegenpress 4-2-3-1 that we put together with Miles in the video that I made right back at the start of FM19 when I was down at the SI offices, and it's the one we used with Bayern Munich to win everything in 2 years on my alpha save. So we know the tactic works with a really good team. Will it work with a team that was pretty rubbish last year? We're about to find out. Let's assertively say I expect nothing but a win. Let's start as we mean to go on. I want us to have the mindset of a top 6 team this year. Top 6 is probably pushing it a little bit, but if we have the mindset of a top 6 team, then we've got more of an opportunity to finish in maybe the top 8 or so. I think top 8 this year will be a good result. The board are expecting mid-table. They were expecting top half last year, so the board expectations have actually lowered. The media are predicting that we finish in 12th place again, so they're expecting us to be a pretty boring bunch of 0-0 merchants again, which hopefully the 11-0 win, if it shows nothing else, it shows we're unlikely to get many 0-0s this year, I think. Or it could just be that was a very poor team we played against and I should stop reading anything into it at all. But what we should be seeing here, and I guess we are seeing it a little bit, is we're trying to close down in the midfield. The only problem is Freiburg were not letting us have the ball, and that was almost a reverse of how we used to play football last year, because we're playing against a team knocking it around, short passes, the way we're used to doing. We're chasing shadows and can't get anywhere near them, and they lead, they get a goal, and we're 1-0 down after 14 minutes, and the world is coming crashing down around me. We've only had 41% possession. We're struggling to get the ball. We've not had a shot. And remember, this is only Freiburg. Oh, Gordon Bennett. How long until I bottle this and decide to go back to our 4-3-3 control possession thing that, albeit with very different players now because we had such a busy transfer window, but it did start to look half decent towards the end of last year. And I'm worried a little bit. I've thrown the baby out with the bathwater. Butgerite, though, crosses to Okafor, who can't quite get onto the end of it. But that's the big advantage of having an inside forward on there. We saw him score, or I saw him score a hat-trick in the last game, cutting in off that left wing. You can see he's very central again there. So Thorne crosses, Vital's there, and Vital gets an almost immediate reply. We're collecting a couple of yellow cards already, which is a little bit of a worry. As per the original version of this tactic, I have taken off get stuck in, but it seems that with the whole pressing thing, we are still going to collect yellow cards, and we probably need a plan for what happens when we inevitably go down to 10 men fairly regularly. But for now, let's not worry about that. Let's be positive. Liam Thorne, instrumental in the goal, grabs an assist. Vital, playing in his new role as an attacking midfielder, spent all of last year in central midfielder out on the left wing, but now playing in his actual natural position, grabs a goal. And then from the first highlight again we see afterwards, they score. But we're going over to the little telly. Let's have a look to see what the little telly man's got to say. Look how happy their manager is. I think we probably deserve to have this disallowed just to put him in his place because he's celebrating prematurely. Am I going to celebrate when it's disallowed? No, because it's not been disallowed, has it? Has it? No, it has. I don't understand how VAR works. That was a lot of faff for not. I mean, we didn't even get to see the incident. That seems stupid, really. We could have at least had a look at the incident ourselves and been able to make a judgment, but apparently not. There you go. We've made a tackle. Tackling is good. That's what we want to see with our gegenpress. We want to be closing down, getting these tackles in, and there's Okafor doing exactly that, closing down, intercepting, and it's Rodriguez. Rodriguez has got options ahead of him, but plays it across to hat-trick hero Friedel, plays it to Janicic. We're just being a little bit patient with the build-up here, picks the ball over the top for Thorne, and Liam Thorne is in and should have scored. That was a little bit of a wild effort from Liam Thorne. He is now good at speaking German. I'm fluent at German now. But Thorne is a good German speaker, so I'm starting to expect his performances to increase as a result of understanding what everyone around him is saying. The only problem is we've brought in so many players from other leagues over the summer that half of them don't speak German or English, so he probably still can't communicate with the people around him. Right, let's... I'm going to continue being assertive with a favourite. I don't care about the fans cheering. Let's do that one. I don't want to say we've been the better team, because we haven't been the better team. Have we got a left back on the bench? We haven't. So I know Friedel's picked up a knock. I have noticed, I'm just not taking him off because we don't have anyone else who can go over and play left back. In actual fact, there is still a couple of weeks of the transfer window open, or maybe a week or so. Left back is still the one position where if we could bring in an extra player, it would be quite handy to bring one in there, because we don't really have a backup option to Friedel if he does pick up an injury. So it's something we're going to need to monitor, because if he's picked up a knock there, we sold Santos over the summer, who was our backup left back last season, and we just haven't replaced him yet. Theoretically, I think it's Gomez can play left back, although it's not showing on his He's the only other player in the first team squad who can play left back. And I think that's what we're going to ask him to do now. So we're going to bring on Bayer and stick Gomez out to left back. You don't really want to be a centre-back, do you? I mean, that's handy. You don't want you to be covering then. Actually, no, cover might be your best option. And we're also going to... Okafor. That's a bit of a shame, because he played so well in the last game. Has not turned up at all today. So you get to have your first look at Tekin Kaya, who came on the left wing in the cup game as well. He's actually come through our youth system, or Stuttgart's youth system, and then ours for years and years and years. Has he actually made his debut? Oh, he played for Hamburg way back, like 3 or 4 years ago. Has had a number of loans and things since then. Spent last year at Dynamo Dresden. He's really a striker, but let's get him on the left wing and see what he can come up with. And we've got Chapman on the bench as well. He's probably going to come on for Rocky any time now. Let's make that now, just to try and offer us something a little bit more on that right-hand side as well. And I think we're going to say the good old faithful show some passion. With 10 minutes to go, we've got them on the ropes. I mean, it's been a pretty even game. Oh, last gasp block on the line, and there's another block, and that's more like it. I like to see the blocks, but I do want to see us. This of the two games, this was probably the most winnable. It was the home game against the team. I mean, it was against the team that finished higher last year, I guess. But still, we want to be, as a mid-table team, we want to be winning the majority of our home games, drawing the majority of our away games. And this hasn't been the best start, but I guess also not the worst start we could possibly have had either. Chapman now plays the ball over, aiming for the youngster whose name I can't remember on the left wing. Doesn't get as far as him, but we've got about 15 seconds to try and have one last effort, and it's with Butgerite, and Butgerite with the cross towards Kaya, and he can't quite get on the end of it. Where was Liam Thorne? All 6'5" of him there to try and get on the end of that cross. Are we getting one more bite of the cherry? It's with Chaton into Vital, out to Butgerite, and it's too long for him, and I think that's probably that, and that is that. And I guess we didn't lose, and that's important, but I will tell them I'm disappointed. I expect more than that this season. I'm fed up of drawing. At least we scored a goal, but I want a better performance than that against Werder Bremen. Just one change for the Werder Bremen game then, because Friedel is injured. He's out for a couple of weeks. It was the one injury we couldn't afford to have, so we've gone out and panic signed a player. I mean, he is someone we'd been scouting and had our eye on anyway. It's another case of cheap youngster who might end up any good. It's been a little bit of a theme in all our signings, but Giovanni Rubino is a 20-year-old Italian under-20 international, 2-star current ability, 3.5-star potential ability. He's nothing spectacular. He's obviously not as good as Friedel, but he's an adequate backup to come in and play a couple of games while he's out injured. He's been at Empoli previously, and he cost us less than £2 million. So it was a case of we couldn't go out and sign anyone properly good, but at least we've not gone over our budgets, and we've filled a gap in the squad. And plus, he's a natural at the wing-back role that we use there. So it's actually for an actual quality, for a player type, is that what I'm trying to say? It fits in well, although he's obviously not as good as the hat-trick hero, Friedel. But let's get into the game. It is our big local derby, apparently. I have no idea where Werder Bremen is. Or Bremen, I guess, is the place. Is it? I don't know. But I'll believe the game when it tells me this is a big derby. And fingers crossed, we can put on a slightly better show than we did in the last game. And, I mean, if we can be on 4 points after 2 games, that would be delightful. I mean, 2 points after 2 games is better than we were doing last year. So anything's an improvement. What I don't want to do is see us get absolutely battered and outclassed. Obviously, it is going to take a little bit of time for our new tactic to bed in. We spent a long time playing the control possession system last year. So switching to a gegenpress, we have been training it and playing it all pre-season. And obviously, there have been times where it's clicked, like in the 11-0 win. But it's going to take a little bit of time for it to be fully effective. But I guess if we can not drift too far down the table while it's bedding in, second half of the season, we get a lot of players learning to speak German, and they're used to the tactic, and things might start to look up for a late season push up the table. We've given away a penalty though, right on the stroke of half time, but Meyer saves it, and that's a potential turning point for the games. We've been poor in this first half. Possession's been fairly even, but we've not had a shot. And that's a situation that really needs to change as we go into this second half. We've got a lot of anxious players out there, so maybe looking for revenge wasn't the best idea I've ever had. Perhaps we need to try something a little bit different. Let's go passion. I don't want to say revenge. It's time for everyone to dig in, give it everything you've got. We deserve to win this match. Let's go and do it. Yeah, I mean, not based on how we've played in the first half. We should be behind. But based on the fact that we would like to win it, please, that means we deserve to win it. That's my theory. Certainly, based on form in the second half of last season, we're a better team than Werder Bremen, although obviously we've had a huge player churn over the summer. There's new boy Rubino, though, making a tackle and playing it down this left wing for Liam Thorne, who's drifted a long way over to the left. He's doing that a lot at the moment. I guess with 3 players behind him, he can kind of drift around a little bit more. He's playing as a pressing forward as well, which is a new role for Liam Thorne. But I don't know, we might switch him back to complete forward if he's going to spend all this time faffing about on the wings and coming deep, because that's where I want him. I want him getting on the end of crosses and having shots, albeit ones that he missed. But we've got the young Italian on the bench today, Canoni, who is going to come on probably with 20 minutes or so to go. So it'll be the first opportunity for us to have a look at him, because he wasn't fit to play in the cup game or even sit on the bench in the last game, but he's going to come on now, and he is a natural pressing forward, which was one of the reasons why we brought him in. We don't have the young Turkish winger, though, to bring on for Okafor, who's again not playing particularly well. We also don't have Chapman on the bench. Mohamed Reza Ramati is another one who's come through our youth system, so we might bring him on to play on the right-hand side. Or what we might do is, in fact, we are going to bring on Tashreeq Matthews, who's a new signing in the summer. Bring him on for Vital to play in behind Canoni, and let's see if the two of them can conspire to at least create some chances. It's same old story at the moment, 0-0. We're not really threatening. We want to score a goal, please. Rocky plays it forward to Okafor. Okafor with a good shot, straight at their keeper, but it tested him a little bit. It stung his fingers. He wasn't able to keep hold of it. And what were we going to do? We were going to say show some passion, weren't we? We want some passion. Passion is always good. Right, we've fired everybody up apart from Rocky, who's now nervous. So that seems like a good opportunity to bring Ramati on, and we'll have a look at him as well. So in addition to all the new players we've brought in this summer, we've promoted a lot of players from our B team as well. You've seen 2 of them now, and fingers crossed we can start doing a little bit of what we were doing at Fulham, where we were bringing in youngsters, but also developing our own youngsters as well. And fingers crossed we'll start to see a little bit more of that as we bed in for the long haul here at Hamburg. Matthews now to Ramati. Ramati to Janicic. Plays it over the top to Matthews. Thorne and Okafor in the middle. It's not Okafor, though. It's t'other fella. And well, no, it is Okafor. I forgot I left him on. I'll get used to the players soon. That is disgusting in the 91st minute. Disallow that, referee. Is he disallowing it? Right, we're going over to the little telly again. Oh, we didn't even go to the telly. It was just disallowed. Excellent stuff. I mean, I said I didn't want a 0-0. I'd rather have a 0-0 than a last-minute 1-0 defeat. 2 draws, I guess, not a disaster for an opening episode of the season. Would have been nice to pick up a win. Would have been nice to score more than 1 goal. But I don't know. I think we're going to prove to be a better team than we were last season. We'll address everything in training. I mean, that's a nothing team talk, but I don't really have anything to say. It wasn't spectacular. It wasn't a disaster. I know we played 1 more game than everybody else, but so have Werder Bremen. We're in 6th. They're in 14th. So if we finish there, everybody's happy. We're probably not going to finish there. Right, where are we going to come back? When are we coming back? In fact, we'll be back on Tuesday at 4 p.m. and we will be playing... Who will we be playing? We'll probably do... Let's do a chunk of games. Let's do Leipzig and Hertha Berlin maybe on Tuesday. Get 5 or 6 games under our belt. See where we actually sit at the start of this season. And then play against a couple of teams who are both going to be up there challenging. They're 2 of the bigger teams in the division. And it'd be interesting to see how we measure up against them. Unless I've been sacked by then because we're in the relegation zone, which is still entirely possible. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.